Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Within Warzone right now, pretty much all of the various weapon categories offer something to the meta, whether it is the best SMG or the best rifle, the best shotgun, so on and so forth. And so today, I wanted to go through every single weapon category that we've got where you can actually customize a loadout and break down the best weapon from that category and the best loadout for that best weapon. So we'll start first with our one true secondary setup, and that is with our pistols. Obviously, the melees, the launchers, you can't fully create a loadout or any realistic ones, right? But for the pistols here, the best one right now has got to be the Akimbo WSP Stinger. This thing's got the best close range TTK in the game, statistically speaking. Now, you do have to factor in your Akimbo, so there's hip fire. You will miss some random shots, so your realistic TTK is still crazy fast. It's just not as broken as it might seem on paper, but it's definitely the best pistol loadout right now. So with this, as mentioned, we want to be running that Akimbo option on here. Really, all it does is change your effective damage range, but the TTK is so good, and you're obviously only barrel stuffing with this that's not really a huge deal. 32 round extended mag, not great for an individual pistol, plenty of ammo for dual pistols, right? I do use high grain, extends that damage range back out some, and that's really all that's relevant there. The sidearm laser is going to give us the best hip fire accuracy, and then unfortunately the only other thing that we can use to help our hip fire accuracy is the Breacher Device S muzzle or compensator here, so we do go ahead and we run that. Kind of a strange setup for hip fire, but this is technically the most accurate and the best accuracy stats you can add on to this thing, so you can run and gun and just fry up close. Now in the sniper category, we've got a couple of decent one-shot options. The best still though by far is going to be the Cat AMR. It can infinitely one-shot. It's got a decent velocity stat, so you don't have to worry too much about bullet drop or bullet lead. Definitely gets the job done here. Same setup that we've been using for some time though on here. I got the Nightfall suppressor. All we care about here is that better velocity increase. Zang 34 barrel, again, all we care about is that velocity increase. And then high velocity gives us the best velocity stat out of all the ammo, so 941 will be very solid for a hit scan range, and like I said, you don't have to worry too much about bullet drop or bullet lead. This thing is slow and heavy, so I do use the tac pad stock. It helps out that ADS speed and brings that up a little bit. It's still very slow though. Then I also go for the quick bolt just so I can get shots off faster, back to back to back. Like I said, I really haven't changed this setup in some time, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is still the go-to sniper. Now, even though it's not a true sniper, it's still used like one, and it's the best marksman, easily the Kar 98K. No surprises here. Nothing in the category particularly comes close to just how dominant the car is. Even though it's seen a couple of nerfs, it's still by far that number one option in this category for sure, and one of the top options in the game. I'm still running a no stock build. I love the aggressiveness that this adds. Great strafe speed, so when you are ADS'd in, you can definitely still be agile and mobile and kind of throw enemies off with that. I like the Antless AS7 optic. I like the scope on it. I like the fact that it has a faster ADS speed. This does not allow the weapon to reload fast though, so if you really care about that, you may want to opt for a different scope, but really scopes are all preference as is. Use whatever one you're the most accurate and comfortable with. High grain rounds on here, we want to extend that effective damage range, but also get good velocity too, and this does both of those just fine. Same deal with the 7.62 long barrel, better range, better velocity. Then sonic suppressor, better range, better velocity. So this is the best one-shot range you can get, almost 76 meters, and the best velocity you can get at 925. So it'll be easy to actually predict bullet lead and bullet drop on this thing and effectively use that one-shot range as best as you can with your shots there. So it's easy to use, and it is a one-shot machine if you're playing remotely aggressively. And by the way, as we are breaking down all the weapons and setups here today, if you enjoy the video or if you find it helpful, do me a favor and drop a like. It's always really appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, or maybe you have not subscribed yet, let's change that. This is your one-stop shop for all things going on in Call of Duty, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications to stay up to date. Now for the LMGs, again, for me, it's a pretty easy choice. The Holger 26 statistically and, you know, in-game in execution is by far the number one option here. It's got one of the best TTKs in the general game, not even just the LMG category. It's easy to use as well, has great ranges across the board, so this thing's checking all the right boxes. I got the 2.5 times eagle eye scope on here, my go-to optic of choice for mid to long range in most cases here. Ascent Lord stock's going to make this thing easy to use, just offers just straight up better recoil control, which is pretty effective here. Also does give you better idle sway and firing aim stability though, for what it's worth as well. Bruin Heavy support's going to do more of the same here, and Focus, of course we have a playlist update. Why not? As I was saying, Bruin Heavy support, more horizontal focus in this case, so it's going to make the weapon feel a lot more like a laser beam and make it way more easy to predict the pattern. Factory barrel, better range, velocity, and control, extending that lethality in the mid to long range. Then Spirit Fire Suppressor, range, velocity, control benefits here as well. So for an LMG, this is definitely the most reliable, the most consistent, and one of the easiest to use at the same time. Now for our shotguns, it's weird because most of the shotguns in this game are kind of mid, and the best shotgun originally isn't even a shotgun, it's actually a Marksman. We're talking about the Lockwood MK2 conversion kit, the Jack Wardens, which is basically the model 1887s, and this is by far one of the stranger loadouts because, well, we've only got 2 attachments on it. So the first one's going to be the Jack Wardens kit, and when you put this on and you get the Akimbo model 1887s, yeah, it takes away everything pretty much. No stock, no comb, no lever, no guard. You could use ammo, but none are really all that worth it in the general grand scheme of things. No underbarrel, no barrel. You could use a laser, and the only one really worth running here is going to be the Scarlet because it's going to give you perfect spread, but you have to be standing still. And for that reason, I'm not really a huge fan of this. It has a place, like there's a playstyle for this. You really have to force it into your playstyle though of if you're shooting this thing, you cannot be moving, and I don't like to play shotguns like that, so instead, your best option is to simply run the Bryson choke and get a better spread here. This can 2-shot knock up close if you land all your pellets, so you just want to have a good spread that's really tight with that hip fire, and if you do land all your pellets, you'll get that quick knock, and that's why it's the best shotgun. But as far as the setup in a loadout goes, definitely not what we're used to seeing with only 2 attachments, maybe 3 if you wanted to throw on a laser as is. But yeah, definitely strange, but it does work up close. Hey folks, wanted to take a quick second and talk about gamer advantage. If you've been around the channel for some time now, you know about GA. You guys know in every single video, I am rocking these. And even when I'm not recording, I'm just sitting here gaming, I'm watching TV, whatever the case is, I got these things on because truly they are game changers. If you're trying to sleep better at night, reduce eye strain or your headaches, you gotta get yourself a pair. They offer prescription or regular lenses, so something for everyone. They've got you covered there. A bunch of different colorways and frame options so they can rock with your style there too. If you're interested at all in picking up anything from the Gamer Advantage site, be sure to toss in code Immortal at checkout, and that'll get you a nice little discount. The link for that's going to be down below in the description if you're interested. Now for SMGs, this one's not really surprising. The Superi is the SMG. And quite frankly, while the category is competitive, if you're not using the Superi, you probably are going to lose a lot of those fights. This thing just does it all. You can fight at 5 meters and fry with this thing. You could fight at 35 meters and fry with this thing. This setup is obviously built around more close range engagements than 35 or 40 meter engagements, but there's setups for that work well too. This is my strafe build. I've talked about this a dozen times, but it's so good. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We got the light barrel, better strafe speed. DR6 hand stop, better strafe and general movement speed across the board. High grain to extend that range, make that more effective. Better velo for the hit scan range as well. 40 round extended mag, and then the cutthroat stock, way better strafe speed at the cost of some control, but where you're fighting with this thing, it's so easy to use that that's not really a huge deal. By far and away the #1 SMG, and has a case for being the #1 weapon in the game. Now for battle rifles, the SOA Subverter, while it's clearly not that #1 long range option that it was for so long beforehand in previous seasons, it's still way better than I think most people realize. This thing's TTK is actually still very competitive, and it's also pretty easy to use, especially with this iron sight build on here that's relatively low recoil. It ends up being a very competitive option across the board. Definitely the best battle rifle, but also has a place in the general meta as well, which is always very fun to see. So here, like I said, I'm using an iron sight build, really just focusing on attacking the control here, getting rid of that S curve and trying to make it as vertical as possible. So heavy stock's going to generally help out with control across the board, always very convenient. 50 round extended mag, very basic, no need to explain that. Bruin heavy support, attacking that horizontal control, but also adding in better firing aim stability and idle sway, makes this pattern a lot more predictable. Dozer 90 long barrel, better control, but also some better range and some better velocity benefits there. Then Cassis break definitely attacks that horizontal control, does limit that S curve sort of pattern there, makes it a lot more predictable. So you'll be able to fry players with this setup in general, whether you're fighting in the mid range where it's very competitive or over range where it's still very good as well. And then lastly here for the assault rifles, I've got the Holger 5.56. Just the continuous buffs that this has seen over time really has this as such a reliable rifle. It's very easy to use, especially with this setup on here, a bit more built around easy control, but then it's TTK, whether you're fighting in the mid range or the long range, is insanely good. So I am using the glassless optic, really like the feel of this on this weapon in particular. Also adds in firing aim stability, making it even easier to use on an already very easy to use base rifle. 40 round extended mag works because this fire rate's honestly kind of slow, so you don't actually burn through ammo all that fast. Relatively easy to use as mentioned, so I just go for the angled underbarrel here. Offers in some horizontal control, a little bit of idle sway, but it's not going to slow you down with like your ADS or anything else there, like brew and heavy wood. So I do like the feel and sort of alternative to that there. Cryo 6 match barrel, range, velocity, and control. And then Spirit Fire suppressor on here as well, just for the better range, velocity, and control as well. So you got a laser beam that's got a fast TTK, and quite frankly, that's the best of both worlds right there. And that being said, those are the best meta weapons and meta loadouts in every single weapon category right now. And that's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like. And of course, if you're new here, on your way out, hit that subscribe button to guarantee you're always up to date with everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.